Alrighty, ready. Funk Dr. Spock in the building again, following up on Darko's stories. Um, I just recently read my mail from Mr. Darko. He said he's probably going to post all these up. Uh, so you'll probably be finding these on his page. So while you're seeing, I mean, he gets more hits than me, so it's perfectly fine. But so while you're seeing these videos on his site, if you could go ahead, do me a huge favor and at least give me the page hits. Stop at my channel, maybe check out a video or two of mine. Help me out a little bit. But here we go. We're continuing the coverage. AOL Time Warner censors Alex Jones websites. This is actually from October 5th, 05. So it's funny how, I mean, I didn't really have my eyes on all of this shit until recently. With it all within the last year. So it's really funny how long they've actually been trying to take away our internet rights. It's very funny to me. It's been going on now for almost 5 years. Probably even longer than that. This one here has Time Warner's ISP Roadrunner blocked access to all of AJ's flagship sites across the entire US? Or is it a wider internet issue? At first, we were alerted to the problem early this morning when several locals in Austin reported they were unable to access their InfoWars or their PrisonPlanet.com or .tv. Now, Austin Time Warner has previously shut down access on a whim, claiming they were hate material, but in all cases quickly restored them after receiving complaints. After the latest attack on free speech, it's occurring nationwide, or however, this one's a nationwide, with Time Warner subscribers from New York to California reporting access to the sites being blocked. The last attempt to shut us down came shortly after the London bombings, which saw traffic go through the roof after they released a plethora of articles exposing government involvement. The consequences of this is that Prison Planet alone on some days gets more hits than Britney and Rush Limbaugh. Previously, we reported that UK ISPs like Tiscali were blocking their subscribers from accessing the website after the 7/7 bombing. It is obvious that those in high places are showing disapproval, but that only vindicates the information they've been putting out, which is very true. How can a website that merely reports and comments on mainstream media articles be described as hate? How can Bill O'Reilly get on Fox and call for assassinating prime ministers, and Pat Robertson on the 700 Club can do the same, and yet they get censored for being hateful, when Bill O'Reilly and Pat Robertson don't? We have never called for violence against anyone and actively encouraged peaceful exchange of information. It's part of a growing trend of authoritarian censorship in the internet preparation for the emergence of Internet 2, where only government-approved websites will be allowed to exist and old internet will be shut down. Monolithic corporations in lockstep with government are following the Chinese model, where any website mildly anti-establishment is immediately shut down and owners arrested. The vast majority of internet cafes in China were shut down in '02 after the government started a fire in one Beijing cafe and then demanded all the rest be shut down for safety reasons. Under anti-terrorism laws in Italy, internet cafe owners are forced to take photo IDs of all their customers and install key logging and filter software which blocks any websites the government chooses. These actions by Time Warner may fall into the same category. The First Amendment is continuously under siege by jackbooted totalitarians in suits that graciously lick the boots and follow the orders of the establishment. In '02, Dell Computers canceled an order placed on Weigand combat handguns because the company name triggered a security alert. The word combat was not accepted by Dell's post 9/11 security alert system. This is an example of the inane and sweeping nature of these filtration systems and the blanket idiocy applied to these cases. They are urging, which I can still continue to think this, but they're urging all readers to boycott any Time Warner Roadrunner ISP service, cancel subscriptions with them. They've proven themselves time and time again to be anti-freedom hating tool of the establishment. Even this latest incident turns out to be a technical error Their past history of censorship should still concern everyone. We are due to double your efforts in spreading the truth, copy and distribute articles more than ever. Time Warner are already receiving a deluge of complaints, and according to some, are now claiming that this is an error that they are looking into and citing other websites that have also been affected, even though these websites are actually having no problems. Oh, right. On to the next article. This is U.S. web tracking plan stirs privacy fears, August 11th, 09. The Obama administration is proposing to scale back a long-standing ban on tracking how people use government internet sites with cookies and other tech, raising alarms among privacy groups. A 2-week public comment period ended Monday on a proposal by the White House Office of Management and Budget to end a ban on federal internet sites using such technologies and replace it with other privacy safeguards. The current prohibition, in place since 00, can be waived if an agency head cites a compelling need. Supporters of a change say social networking and similar services, which often take advantage of the tracking technologies, have transformed how people communicate over the internet, and Obama's aides say those services can make government more transparent and increase public involvement. Some privacy groups say the proposal amounts to a massive and unexplained shift in government policy. In a statement Monday, American Civil Liberty Union's ACLU spokesman Michael McLeod-Ball said the move could allow the mass collection of personal information of every user of a federal government website. Even groups that support updating the policy question whether the administration is seeking changes at the request of private companies, such as online giant Google, as the industry's economic clout and influence in Washington have grown rapidly. Two prominent technology policy advocacy groups, the Electronic Privacy Information Center and Electronic Frontier Foundation, cited the terms of a February 19th contract with Google in which an unnamed federal agency explicitly carved out an exemption from the ban so that the agency could use Google's YouTube video player. You might want to read that to yourself a few times. I'd like anyone seeing this to come up with your own ideas on that. That paragraph right there, you can go ahead and put do a video response, leave a comment, make your own video and link to it. I don't give a shit, but that's its own animal right there. The terms of this contract, negotiated through General Services Administration, expressly waives those rules or guidelines as they may apply to Google. The contract was obtained by EPIC through a Freedom of Information Act request. Our primary concern is that the GSA has failed to protect the privacy rights of U.S. citizens, EPIC Executive Director Mark Rottenberg said. The expectation is they should be complying with the government regulations, not that the government should change its regs to accommodate these companies. Cindy Cohn, legal director for Electronic Frontier Foundation, called the contract troubling. It appears that these companies are forcing the government to lower the privacy protections that the government had promised the American people. The government should be requiring companies to raise the level of privacy protection if they want government contracts. The episode recalls a dispute in January when critics complained that a redesigned White House website featured embedded Google and YouTube videos depicting events such as the president's weekly address that used tracking cookies. The White House and Google later reassured users that they had stopped collecting the data. The current ban on cookies, according to senior OMB officials, applies only to federal agencies and not third parties. Google, according to a source at the company with knowledge of the partnership with the Obama administration, could be tracking any YouTube video you click on. Google spokeswoman Christine Chen directed broader questions to the government, but said in a statement the White House use of YouTube is just one example of how government and citizens communicate more effectively online. Doodle bop. That's the short and skinny of it. That's really all you need to know. Here's the rest so you can read it. Go ahead, hit pause. This is their way of tricking you into thinking that the government wants the same kind of shit you do. They just want a little bit more safety. They just want you to be a little bit more safe. They just want themselves to be a little bit more safe. And the fact of the matter is, they couldn't be any further from the truth. They don't want any of this. They just want your info. That's it for this one.